Hi Math 7 students, I hope you're doing well and you had an enjoyable weekend. It's Monday, April 27th, and I'm here to teach you your next lesson. Now today we're going to do lesson 9.5, which is all about circle graphs, and we're not going to do the part of the lesson that is how to make a circle graph, because it's very difficult without a classroom to teach you how to use a protractor, and honestly, computers have taken over a lot of that anyway. So we are going to learn how to read them though, and that's what we're going to learn today. So you'll see on the homework, we're not doing the part of the homework that says to make a circle graph, but we are going to do the part of the homework that shows how to use the information in a circle graph. So let's get started and say a prayer. Father in heaven, we just thank you for this day. I pray for my students that you would really help them to focus and learn, that they would master this material and have great success, and you strengthen me and help me to be the very best teacher I can be right now. In Jesus' name, amen. And that's my dog scratching the floor. I don't know why. But anyway, I am going to sit down now and we're going to start. What are you doing, Rosie? Rosie? Rosie, come here. Okay, so on the screen, I sent you 2 class worksheets, and it has a picture like this. Now, I'm going to use this, and we're going to go through this together. This is a circle graph, okay? And this is what it says. The Addams family expenses are $7,000 a month. Okay? He made a pie chart on their expenses for food, housing, savings, clothing, entertainment, and miscellaneous expenses. Read the pie graph and answer the questions. Okay. Now, you use a pie graph when your total up is 100%. And if you totaled all of these, 27, 34, 9, 13, 11, and 6, those all add up to 100%. So that's a good time to use a circle graph and to display information. Now, we know that they have $7,000 a month in their budget, right? Or that's their expenses. So now we're going to use the information in the graph to answer the questions below. So number 1 says, how much money does he spend for clothing and entertainment? So if we look at this, for clothing we have 11%, and entertainment we have 13%. So over to the side here, I'm going to write and use that. So I want 11% of 7,000. Okay? So I'm taking the information and the percentages off of the circle graph, and I'm using that, and it says how much money. So I know I'm going to come up with a dollar amount. All right, so this is one kind of circle graph that has percents on it. There will be another kind we will do next. But for now, this is how we solve these types of problems when we have a percentage. So I'm going to change 11% to 0.11 because I divide by 100 to take away the percent sign. And of means multiply. And when I multiply 0.11 times 7,000, I get 770. So the answer to part of it is the clothing is, let's call that C, $770. Now the question is clothing and entertainment. Now what does and mean? That means more. So clothing plus entertainment. So it means I'm going to do some addition there. So I also have to do for entertainment 13% of 7,000, and that's 0.13 times 7,000, and I get 910. Okay, so I can add those together, and the whole amount that I budget, or the Addams family budgets for entertainment and clothing every month, It's quite a lot of money, if you ask me. Every month. Is that every month? Yeah. Okay. Let's see what's next. Other than housing, how much money does he have for other expenses? Okay. So I want to know everything except housing. So if I take the whole thing and I subtract housing, I'll know what everything else is. So let's figure out how much he uses for housing. So I have 27% of 7,000. And when I figure that out, I get 0.27 times 7,123, and I get $1,890. That's a very cheap housing payment. But this was from a long time ago. So anyway, housing is $1,890. What's the total? 7,000. So how do I find out what everything else is? I subtract. So I would have, we can just write that in this blank, 7,000 minus 1,890. Can you read that okay? That's getting pretty little. Let's see what I get. $5,110 for everything except housing. Okay. How much money is his family's food expense? This is all doing very similar things. So if I look up here, and let's see, let's make it a little smaller. Food is 34%. Okay. So I have 34% times 7,000. And I get 0.34 times 7,123, and I get 2380. So they're spending 2380 a month on food. Okay. Does he save money? If yes, how much? Well, let's see up here. Is there a savings portion? Yes, 6%. So let's figure that out. 6% of 7,000, and I get 0.06 times 7,000, and I get 0.106 times 7,000, $420 a month. Okay, remember 6%, I moved the decimal over 2 places, not just 1. And that's how I have 0.06. Okay, and the last question is, Adam allotted 1/3 expense of housing to miscellaneous expenses. Is this statement true? Well, let's see. What is 1/3 of housing? Well, 1/3 of housing was 5,110. So let's see, 1/3 times that. Let's see if we can figure that out. That's the same as 5,110 divided by 3. And I get 1703. Okay, well, let's check miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is 9%. So we also have to figure out what 9% of 7,000 is. That would be 0.09 times 7,000. I think it's not going to end up to be true. .09 times 1, 2, 3, 7,000. This works out to be 630. No, that's not true. Do you see 1/3 of housing is 1,700 and 9% of miscellaneous is actually 630. Okay, so those are the answers for the first worksheet, and that's where we are using percentage in our circle graph to figure out answers to different questions. So now we're going to do the second worksheet, and that is right here. What do I do when I can't hear someone? Okay, I thought this was kind of funny. Let's see, tell them I can't hear them. The second thing in blue, move closer so I can hear them. Repeatedly shout, what? What? Or 3, laugh and hope it wasn't a question. Ha ha ha. And then just not say anything, right? Okay, so on our pie graph, we don't have percentages this time. I have 140 here. I have 46, I have 5, and I have 9. And the total is 200 people. So the question is, number 1, what percent of the people said, tell them I can't hear them, ... The green response. What percent of the people said that's what you tell someone when you can't hear them? Okay, well, let's figure that out. What have I got here? I've got 9. 9 people responded with that answer out of 200. So I can use those numbers to figure out my percentage. So what I have is the numbers that I have, which is 9 out of 200, which is the number of people excuse me, who said, tell them out of the total, right?
Hey Ben.
Excuse me. So 9 out of 200. Now we've done this in the chapter before. We change a fraction to a percent. So what I do is, there are 2 steps. So I divide the fraction to get a decimal. And the second thing I do is multiply by 100. Let's put this here and add the percent sign. Okay? It doesn't want to write by. Multiplied by. Okay, you can see that. Add it before it disappears. Okay, so I'm going to take 9 over 200 and I change that to 200 divided into 9. My divisor and the denominator goes outside the house. So 200 doesn't go into 9, it doesn't go into 90, so I put a 0 there, but it does go into 900. Okay, so I'm going to subtract, bring down a 0, and I get 0.045. Okay, so 0.045, that's my decimal from the first step. Now I'm going to multiply that by 100 and I get 4.5, and then that's the percent. So what percent of the people said tell them I can't hear them was what their answer was. Okay, here's number 2. What percent of the people said, let's see, I can't read it, move closer? So that was 5. 5 people said that out of 200. So now I'm going to do what? Divide and then multiply by 100. So I have 200 divided into 5.00. And again, it's a very small amount. 200 doesn't go into 5 or into 50, but it does go into 500 twice. Bring down a 0. I'm running out of room here. And it becomes 5. So I've got 0.025. Now I'm going to multiply that by 100. I move my decimal over 2 places and I add my symbol. So 2.5% said move closer so I can hear you. Okay, so what I want you to do now, I'm going to erase this, all of this, so we can stay on our paper. You can just turn your paper over and write on the back if you've run out of room. I'm going to do a little erasing here for just a minute so I can give you some OYOs. I think it's kind of cool how I can write right on the worksheet on the overhead, huh? I think that's pretty good. All right, so here's your OYOs. Number 1, can you guess what they are? Find the percent of people who said, repeatedly shouted, "What?" And number 2, find the percent of people who said they actually laughed, right? Okay, so I'll pause for a minute. You guys go ahead and do those 2 OYOs, and I'll come back in just a minute. That was good timing. I had to blow my nose. Okay, so let's go over these. The number of people, the percent who said, "What?" That was 46. So 46 out of 200. So I'm going to take 46, or I'm going to take 200 and divide that into 46 right here. So 200 goes into 460 twice. I have 60 left over, bring down a 0, and I get 3. So that becomes 23%. Move the decimal over 2 and add your percent symbol. Okay, and the last one was 140 over 200. So I'm going to divide 200 into 140. And it goes in 70 times exactly, that's it. Okay, so 0.7 becomes, multiplied by 100, and I get 70 Okay, so that's it. So I'm going to send home some problems in the book, and also 2 worksheets will be attached for you. That one of them will be, where did it go? This worksheet with different numbers, and the other one will be other problems. Okay? So that's it for lesson 9.5, and I hope you have a good Monday. Bye now.
No, I don't really know.